Everyone, and welcome back to the Breakthrough Blueprint, where we talk to entrepreneurs about how they became successful today. And I have with me my amazing friend Joel, and I'll hand it over to him to introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joel Monteleone. I'm based out of Austin, Texas, and I am a relationship abundance coach here in Austin and also the host and founder of Hot Takes, Hot Dates, which is, in my opinion, the most fun and social singles event in the world.
Amazing. So, how did you get started in this industry?
Yeah, so I was coaching people in emotional intelligence to help them essentially get promotions and help them prevent burnout in their careers. And in many of my clients, I was supporting people in tech primarily. And very early on in our coaching, they would come to me and say, "Hey, Joel, like, can you help me talk to this girl, or can you help me get a girlfriend or boyfriend?" I'm like, "Yeah, like, is that what you want? I thought you wanted a promotion." And they'd be like, "Oh, well, I'd actually give up my entire salary if I can just find, the love of my life." And I'm like, "Okay, great. So let's focus on that instead of this promotion that you don't actually care about." And then I had networking events. I launched a dating event, and it just became a natural fit for me to support people in creating their dream relationships.
Wow, that's amazing. Interesting. So, what is like your frame philosophy with which you approach matching people up or attracting their dream life partners?
Yeah, so I operate from emotional intelligence principles, essentially, where we are responsible for our own experience. And so you'll hear a lot of dating culture these days is based in a victim mindset where everyone else in the world is the problem, but not me. And what I coach people into is not a place of blame or shame or guilt, but it is their responsibility. And if they are not creating the relationships that they want, it's nobody's fault except their own, which is freeing because then you can realize, oh, okay, if it's my responsibility, then I can create whatever I want. And so, I interrupt people's patterns, especially in dating. People operate from the same kind of worldview that they might have been operating from 10 years ago, where like, oh, I used to meet women in clubs, or I used to meet guys at bars, and they still do that, in their late 30s and early 40s, and wondering why there's no men there that are the right men. And I go, hey, there's actually a lot more out there than just meeting people at bars and clubs. There are man that you're looking for. I work primarily with women. It's like the man that you're looking for actually exists in a space where you might not even know existed.
Interesting. And by that type of space, do you mean like a run club or like can you expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, it's usually the places that they already are. Like if they like to go to the gym, chances are the person and the people that they like to spend the most time around, that they feel the most comfortable with, that they feel the safest with, that they love to connect with, chances are that person would be a really good partner. The reality is that people see dating as this stranger based framework where it's like, oh, I need to actually date strangers from a dating app or online. So getting back to it. Yeah, so the chances are the partner that they're looking for actually is the person who already exists in their communities, in their relationships. And so it's really shifting people's mindsets and being able to operate from a different framework, right? We think, oh, okay, I have to meet a stranger at a bar, we're gonna flirt, then we're gonna date, and then we're gonna become in a relationship, and then we're gonna marry. Well, potentially, but results show that that's not working for you. So maybe try something else. Maybe is there a guy who you feel so safe with, so comfortable with, that you love spending time with? Maybe you never saw them as a romantic partner. Maybe they're just a friend. But you know what? You've already built a relationship with this person through deep vulnerability, authenticity, being yourself. And it's like, okay, hey, what would this look like if we were to explore something more? And so if you ask anyone who's married for a long time, 20 plus years, and you ask them how they met their partner, they go, oh, well, we were friends first. We were friends first. It's the same thing I hear from every couple that's been married for over 20 years. We were friends first. Because dating strangers wasn't really a thing until, the online world came into play. Before, you would date people in proximity to you. And so I'm just kind of helping people see that what they believe to be true around dating and around relationships might not actually necessarily be true.
Interesting. So then what is your opinion of dating apps?
I mean, I think dating apps are, it depends on your goals. You
Yeah.
know, the thing with dating apps is people always try and prove that dating apps work because they know of someone's friend who found their relationship on Hinge. You know, I know one of my closest friends, they found a relationship on Hinge 5 years ago. Dating apps 5 years ago were a lot different than they are today. And so just because Bumble has these billboards in Austin where they're promoting couples that found their relationships on Bumble. And the billboard has 3 couples on it. And I'm like, okay, great. They have 3 couples. I wonder how long it took them to find those 3 couples, right? What about the hundreds of millions of single people that don't, right? Like, we're all operating in search of this, like, hitting the lottery when it comes to dating apps. And so dating apps honestly are great if you want to meet new people and you want to hook up, amazing. Other than that, like the people who are on dating apps, if you really have high standards, if you really care about what this person is doing, how they operate in the world, like dating apps are for people who don't have anything else going on. Because if you did have anything else going on, you wouldn't really have time for dating apps to use them effectively. So I tell people, get off the dating apps, go outside, go meet people. You're going to have a much higher likelihood of going on a date with somebody you like in real life than you will on a dating app.
Yeah, and from what I've heard is that the algorithm is meant to keep you on the app, so you keep paying for the membership. It's not necessarily to help you find your partner. Like even if they figure out like who you're swiping right on and you train the algorithm or whatever on what you like it's not going to show you those people.
Yeah, and even if it did show you those people, the algorithm is going to show you what it believes that you like, right? If you told me, hey, what's your type, especially a lot of guys out there, they'll probably say, you know, they'll describe a certain type of woman. And I'm sure they swipe right on that type of woman because they look a certain way, they make you feel a certain way, but they don't even know who they are. And so the algorithms now are reaffirming this belief of what I think is right for me versus what is actually right for me.
Interesting. So what is your opinion on, this conversation about the male loneliness epidemic, about how males are falling behind women in a lot of benchmarks, whether it's graduating or attending college, moving out of their parents' houses sooner, and how that affects the dating situation today?
I mean, we're getting right into it. I mean, that's if you look at the data shows that men are falling behind, right? And so there's 2 things that are to fix that. All right, men, you get to step up, or women, you get to understand that the man that you want might not exist. Because what women want is the man to be, well, let me just say, a lot of women want the man to be more successful, more masculine, bigger leader. At the same time, the women are the biggest leaders they've ever been, the most financially dependent they've ever been. And so from a place of balance, it's like, hey, women are changing their status in the world. Therefore, men's status is also changing in the world, and men's status might be lowering. And so it's just something to notice. It's like, hey, there's going to be less men that have more financial abundance than you do, have higher positions in their careers than you do, make more money, are smarter, more successful. It's just the data. And so there is a reality that men are falling behind, but what we do about it is the important part. And what I believe is the problem is that both men and women are blaming the other person, right? Men think that it's women's fault. Women think that it's men's fault and why dating sucks. And you know what? You want to know the real truth of it? They're both right. They're both right. It is both men and women's fault. It's everybody's fault, right? And so the only way that we can come up with a solution is if we come together, acknowledge the role that we each individually play, and decide, okay, hey, we are operating in a new world. How do we come together to create a solution that works for everybody? Because right now we're blaming the other person, making them wrong, but no one is actually saying, well, what do we do about it?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm very passionate about what I do, because I'm going to be honest, I'm chronically online. I am a very much online person, and I see a lot of the content that is created around dating. And We have the red pill men who are just the worst of the worst, talking about how they want women to be submissive and how they should be dominant and all this like crazy stuff that is just so outside and fringe. But it's targeting the victim mentality. It's giving them something to grab on. It's giving them an explanation. They're like, oh yeah, I feel that way. It must be the women's fault. That makes sense to me, right? And then on the female side, it's a little bit less, a little bit less like in your face and intense as the red pill, but there are a lot of very influential female figures that create content that's man-hating. Talks about how men are broke, how men are shitty, how there's no real men anymore. And like that isn't helping that's not helping anyone. It's creating division. It's creating an other. And so my intention with Hot Takes, Hot Dates and the content that I create and the coaching that I do is like, hey, how do we create a solution? How do we create a conversation where we can bring men and women both into it, but also keep it engaging and keep it fun and approachable and not like so esoteric that people don't really understand it and feel cut off from it? Because I think that's what makes the other content work. It's easily digestible. People can consume it easily. When you get into this like spiritual world of like masculine, feminine, polarity, like most people don't speak that language. We are in a bubble here in Austin, and I acknowledge that, right? And so what Hot Takes, Hot Dates, my vision for it is to be that bridge between men and women and having a conversation, but having it be fun, having it be approachable, having it be easy. I just talked a lot. Thank you for that.
That's great. That was awesome. So at Hot Takes, Hot Dates, like you guys are playing games or doing icebreakers or like what's the format?
Yeah, so this might not age well because I might be changing the format. But as it exists now, it's like a game show kind of. So everyone there is single as of now. Everyone is single. Excuse me. And we put them at a table, about 8 people to 10 people at a table. And it's half men, half women. And I give each table a topic to discuss. Any topic from sex on the first date to astrology to being friends with your ex, like all types of cultural dating zeitgeist topics. And as a table, they come up with a hot take on that topic. And then one person from their table comes up on stage and shares the hot take. I ask them some questions. I interview them, do a little mini interview, and then the whole room votes on the hottest take, and then that table wins prizes. And then we essentially do it a couple more times in different ways, but it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be flirty. It's meant to take down the walls of people's like fear of being authentic and just putting it out on the table. It's like, hey, do you have a really ridiculous hot take on, I don't know, run clubs? Okay, cool. Let's just put it out there so you can actually be yourself and not try and hide. Because once you let yourself be authentic, then you're able to just really relax and be yourself. And I love it because it just does that. Like the energy in the room is always so palpable, so fun. People come in really nervous and scared because it's a singles event, a dating event. They're like, oh my God, I'm being so vulnerable. But like after 30 minutes, the room is on it's just bumping. It's so fun because everyone feels so safe and willing to like be generous with their energy into the relationships that they're creating.
Interesting. So what do you suggest as a good first date?
Man, so I'm in like the camp of it doesn't matter where you go or what you do, or it matters who you're being, right? And so I've gone on all types of first dates. I've gone on to dinners, I've gone to picnics, I've gone to mini golf, right? And I could create like these things that make it better or worse. But the first thing that you get to check in with is like, who am I being on this? Am I excited for this date? Am I engaged on this date? Am I curious? Am I stressed out? Am I bringing my work with me on this date? Am I anxious? Am I scared? Am I reserved, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you do or where you go. It matters who you're being. Sure, there are ways that can make that easier for you. Like, for example, if you have a thing with like money, then don't go spending $150 on a dinner to impress them, because then you're going to be upset if it doesn't go your way, or you're going to be anxious that it's not going right and that you invested so much money, and it's going to tarnish the type of date. If you like to do activities, go do an activity. Go do something where you feel comfortable in, so that you can eliminate all other variables that might make it scary or confusing, and just do the things that feel good to you. Honestly, I do the same things over and over again. I like mini golf. I think it's pretty fun. I'll take someone maybe to Barton Springs. A picnic is an incredibly good first date because it does a couple of things. One, it's fairly inexpensive, but it shows effort, right? And so if you like going to a restaurant that's really expensive, sure, that shows effort because you invested a lot of money. But like, if you don't want to do that, and I don't think it's great to do dinners because you're just like, it's so intimate, it's so formal and so intimate so early on that it's just like, it's just not that fun. So I'm just going to give someone, I'll say, do a picnic. Men, do a picnic, go grab some charcuterie board stuff, get a bottle of wine, make it a cute little picnic. Honestly, all you have to do in dating is go watch a movie from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, see what they did, and just do that. Go to a diner and share a milkshake and get 2 straws. The playbook is out there. We overthink everything. We think it has to be different, but it worked in one time. The world is so much different, and at the same time, it's not that different at all.
Yeah, definitely. So what were some of your formative experiences that I guess taught you firsthand experience about how to coach people through these dating phases?
Yeah. So my whole life, I've just been very good at connecting with people. I think connection is taking risk. It's willing to look stupid. It's being yourself. And it's just been something that I have been skilled with ever since I was a junior high school, or a child is like the first thoughts of me being able to connect with people very well. When it comes to dating, I think for a long time, I was a fuckboy. When I lived in Los Angeles, I just drank, I partied, I hit on women, I slept with women, I didn't call them back. Like, I was the worst of the worst. And so I know what it's like to be that. I know what it's like to be in relationship with that. And at the same time, I also had a ton of female friends, and I still do. And so most of my closest friends are all female, and they would tell me all the things that they were going through in their relationships and their dating. And so I'd see both sides of the relationship and the dating world. And so I feel like a bit of a bridge in that is like, I'd get asked, perspectives from women saying, hey, what do you think this guy's thinking? Usually my response is whatever is the simplest interpretation. That's probably what the guy's thinking. And then I'd have the guys ask me, hey, what do you think these girls are thinking? And I would probably say, what do you think is the worst possible interpretation? That's probably what they're making up about it. So it's like, for me personally, I've dated a lot. I've been around dating a lot. I think it's just a really important time for us to really focus on this, because dating isn't the problem, right? People are like, oh, modern dating is so hard. Modern dating is simply a symptom of our ability as humans to connect with each other. And so dating is just a symptom of that. The real problem is connection. And if we don't figure out how to connect better, we are fucked. All right. But it is incredibly important that we figure out how to relate, or it's just not, society's not going to work. Yeah. I draw parallels a lot of dating and the relationship between men and women to the relationship between the left and the right in politics in this country. And the first Donald Trump election, the campaign was it got pretty divisive, and content was a big thing in that. And now 16 years later, maybe 20 years, I don't know, I'm not great at math, but how many years later, people can't even be in the same room as each other if they have differing views. And I'm starting to see similar trends between men and women. Yeah. Where they're blaming the other. They don't feel like they understand each other. They're not having conversations on how to fix it. They're not acknowledging the similarities that they have. At no point did anyone in the election time say, whoa, this is getting kind of crazy. This is getting a little intense. Maybe we should take a chill pill. No, it was just fuck you, you're the worst, you're the problem. And if we don't take a breath with how men and women are relating to each other right now, then I fear there's going to be a time 5-10 years from now where men and women can't be in the same room as each other. And that's going to be obviously incredibly destructive to society.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I've
That's my
seen especially.
pessimistic attitude. That's my pessimist. Like
Well, I mean,
I
we're
don't like him
already,
coming out.
yeah, we're already seeing birth rates decline, especially in countries like Korea, Japan. The birth rates are so low that they're not going to be able to support an aging population. Like, you just see these things, and at least for those countries, a lot of the issue is that they're very patriarchal cultures. A lot of women, now that they're able to have careers and make their own money, and they don't necessarily need a man to support them, they're like, well, why should I sacrifice my career? Why should I sacrifice my body to do all this domestic labor? Because it's proven in sociology that women do much more domestic labor than men across the board. They do something called a second shift when they get home from work, especially if they're both working jobs. They do all the kin keeping the family together. The divorce rate in this country is really high, and I know a lot of the reasons, at least from what I've heard, is because women feel that they have an unfair or unequal burden of childcare and making dinner, getting it the home ready, and the guy's just playing video games or watching TV or just whatever it is. You just hear those stories a lot. So yeah, just from what I've seen, from my friends dating in Austin, is like they just complain about guys. They don't want to settle down. They have Peter Pan syndrome. They just want to like play and not commit. What's your take on that from what you've seen?
I mean,
I'm sure you've heard it because you're coaching mostly women in Austin, right?
you hear it, and it's not just an Austin thing. You hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
Men don't want to settle down. They don't want to create families. But what's interesting is in that same conversation, you just said, hey, women don't want to sacrifice their career. And I don't want to, like, why should I have to? And so, like, my challenge and, like, what I coach people in is, like, hey, are there men who don't want to settle down? 100%. I know exactly where they are. They're at the proper on a Friday and Saturday night. Those men don't want to settle down. And if you keep going to the proper on a Friday and Saturday night looking for your man, you're going to get the same thing, right? And so anytime someone comes to me and says, oh my God, all the men, they never want to settle down, they don't want to go, no, all the men that you are choosing, all the men that you are attracted to don't want to settle down. Are you allowing yourself to try something different? And the same thing is true with men. But like, again, we get in these patterns where it's like, all men are a certain way. It's like, absolutely not. But all the men that you are surrounding yourself with, this is my biggest, now I'm getting I get excited. If someone claims that, oh my God, all the men are Peter Pans, I go, you're in the same place as these men are. Like, you wouldn't even be exposed to these Peter Pans, but you're doing the same thing. So are you a Peter Pan also? Like it's like, again, it's taking personal responsibility. And this is for men and for women. It's for every individual. But if you are continuously dating the same type of person, it's time to look in the mirror. Yeah. Because I guarantee not every single man on earth isn't ready for a relationship. But maybe the ones that you are around, the ones that you are continuing to choose and continuing to date, yeah, maybe. And then also that might prove that you're not actually ready for a relationship, because you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. The people that you date, the relationships that you are in, they are mirrors for what you are generating out in the world.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. So then how do you work with people one-on-one? Is it like a weekly coaching call? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I work with them. I meet with them every other week. And we essentially talk about what they're doing, who they're dating, what they're putting out in the world. Because I also believe that if you prioritize dating 100% over everything else, like, you become a less attractive partner in dating, because then you are deprioritizing everything else that you find important. And so what I coach people in is really to become the best version of themselves so they attract the best possible partner. And coming from a place of abundance, not from a place of scarcity, coming from a place of choosing, not from a place of chasing. And a lot of my clients, I say, hey, what do you want your life to look like? Well, I want community. I want to be fit. I'm like, great. Let's focus on those things, because the partner that you want likely also wants those things. So if you focus on creating that, you are going to be around the types of people that would make good partners, right? No one says, oh, hey, what do you want your life to look like? Oh, I want to spend the Friday and Saturday nights at the proper for the rest of my life. Okay, well then why are we doing that now? And so it's really just like shifting the framework. And for me, like, my big wake up call was drinking. I was an all-time drinker. I was the best at it. I was such a good partier. I knew everybody. I never got out of control. but I would also drink everyone under the table. Like I was the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a point when I was about to turn 30 where I realized, oh my God, like this isn't what I want my life to look like. So why am I doing this? And so I ended up making a lot of decisions, went through a big transformation, got sober, all these things. And now my life looks much more like I want it to look when I have a
Mm-hmm.
partner. And
Yeah.
so the people that I was attracting when I was partying and drinking, those weren't the types of people that I saw myself with. And it takes for me hitting, luckily not like the most rock bottom, but enough of a rock bottom for me to make a decision. I
Yeah.
got jumped under a bridge by myself at 4 a.m. Like it was a whole thing. And I realized I'm like, whoa, this isn't what my life is supposed to look like. And what type of woman that I'm like, I know the type of woman that I'm attracted to. She would not find it attractive that this guy got beat up at 4 a.m. on 6th Street, about to turn 30. Like what in the world? And so it for me it was a huge wake up call. And I think there are a lot of people out there who are operating from or like living an out of date life because it's
Yeah.
comfortable, because it's what they know. And they're afraid to actually make different decisions because it's uncomfortable, it's scary, it's unknown. But
Yeah.
the relationship, if you have yet to find it, chances are your dream relationship exists on the other side of the places you have not been yet, or the places you're unwilling to go. And so that's what I coach people into, is like, if you're really serious about it, then we get to make sure that your life is in a place to where someone would actually want to be in relationship with you. Because as we see to this day, if you have yet to be in a relationship, that means something is not working. Right? That means like there's not space for the relationship of your dreams to actually operate, because if there was, you'd already be in it.
Yeah, love that. And thank you for sharing that also. And I think you're completely right. And I'm sure, part of your coaching then is accountability, encouraging personal development, betting on
Yeah.
yourself, or having the courage and confidence to put yourself out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I coach all like ways of being.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the person that is showing up, right? You can teach strategies all day. Go here and say this. But if the person that's going up and saying it is a scared, anxious, desperate person, it's not going to work. So
Mm-hmm.
I coach ways of being, mindset, to essentially shift your worldview and attract the things that you actually want versus repelling them.
Do you also talk to your clients about like attachment styles?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of anxious attachment out there. A
Yeah.
lot, and especially the ones who are really committed to it. That's usually their go-to is anxious attachment. A lot of what comes from that, and a lot of what I coach people into, is trust.
Mm-hmm.
And again, mindset and understanding. Hey, you get to believe that what they mean is what they said is what they mean. And if they say they love you, that means they love you. And if it doesn't feel right, then you get to talk about it. But how much energy do you spend wondering if they actually love you, or wondering why they haven't texted you? Like
Yeah.
that's the type of energy that doesn't work
Yeah.
in a relationship. And so it's really becoming secure, in the attachment style, but also secure in yourself, secure in your relationship, secure in what you have going on in your life, so that regardless of there being a relationship or not, you are good. A lot of people put so much pressure on finding a relationship that once they find it, they're like, oh my God, I need to do everything to make sure I never lose this because it's all I have. And so that's what I work with people, is like, hey, building up everything else so that when that relationship comes, it's a bonus. It's not the entire cake. It's just like, great. I'm putting this on
Yeah.
top of what my life that I already love. Amazing. Let's make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And I'm sure a lot of your clients are educated career women, because Austin is just full of successful women. And, women have to approach dating differently if their goals are to have a child, right? Whether they are freezing their eggs and they don't have to necessarily worry about a biological clock, or they're not doing that. So they're putting a little bit more pressure on themselves, or the speed of a relationship moving. Because that's what I hear from my guy friends a lot, is like, because they're not necessarily on that same type of fast track, they a lot of the times will date younger women, so they don't have to deal with that pressure of like, oh well, I'm 34, I'm 35, like where are we going with this?
Can I speak to those men right now?
Yes.
Grow the fuck up. Like, you dating a younger woman is mainly because you are scared. You're afraid. to actually have the responsibility that it requires to be the father. And so you're dating younger people and you're excusing it because it's a acceptable excuse. Oh yeah, sure, they have more time, but you're not ready. And the truth is you'll never be ready. And so if you have a commitment to being a father and you have a vision of creating a family, then at some point you got to realize that, hey, the framework that you're operating from, going out at the bars every single night, like that's not going to work. And until you realize that, you're going to be 44, you're going to be 40, 45, 50, 55 and still saying, oh, I need to date younger girls because, of that biological clock. Like you're never ready until you are. It's a decision. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. We have so much freedom and so much comfort that sure, we can do whatever we want. We don't have to do it. But to me, I believe relationships and building a family, like that is a fundamental part of the human experience. And I truly think that if you asked every single person in the world, every human being, do you want a family? Like if you really asked them that and they were being 100% honest and 100% authentic and they were operating from vision and not from a limiting belief, I believe 100% of people would say yes. Because we are animals, we're natural beings. We're no different than any other animal that reproduces, creates family, creates community, grows old and dies. And so what I believe when someone says, I do not want that, it is based off of some fear, some limiting belief that they have to where, one, it's not possible. They're afraid they're going to fuck them up. They don't have enough money, all these things. But if you ask everyone, hey, in the best case scenario, everything, your basic needs are met. Maybe you even have abundance of money. You have so much money, you're rich. You never, would you want a family? I think everyone would say yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally. I think that's true. I think maybe some people don't want to have kids. Maybe they're infertile, so they're not biologically able to have kids. But regardless, I do believe people want relationships, Most people become lonely and depressed to an extent when they're not interacting with people. Like, look at what happened during COVID, right? But another question I have is I've seen a bunch of dating coach content on TikTok. People say write a list of everything that you want, their physical characteristics, how much money they make, where they live, whatever it is. But at the same time, you need to be realistic. Yes, you could say you want someone who's 6'5", blue eyes, works in finance, but are you going to find that person? Maybe. But what are the chances of that person being available, into you, and all of that? Because this one dating coach would say things like, just some people are kind of delusional about what they bring to the table. They'll have these crazy standards of what they want this person to look like, money and all of that, but they're not necessarily their actual match on paper.
Yeah. I come at it from a different perspective. If you have standards, you want to date a 6-7 millionaire who flies to Aruba every single month and they has the perfect family upbringing where you do family reunions every other week and you want that, amazing. Never lower your standards. Operate as if that man's going to come up to you. But I will tell you, chances are it's going to take a really, 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 really long time because there's not that many of those people, right? And so if you have really high standards, okay, great. Keep those standards. But you're not allowed to complain when they're not met. Yeah. And I think that's the difference. People are like, hey, I have these high standards. Men never meet my standards. All men are a certain way. It's well, no, your standards are just really high. And so if you want those high standards, you just can't complain about it. And so that's what I tell people. If you want this really specific thing, amazing. You get to have it. I believe that you get to have the man of your dreams. And also stop complaining that he's not out there, because you just have to, he's out there. It's just not, they're not everywhere. Right. And so that's what I tell people. And, there's also, the thing I find interesting is the height. Everyone is oh, I need a man who's 6 foot. And I'm and I'm pretty, I'm kind of hardcore when it comes to feedback and telling people no nonsense truth. Yeah. I'll talk to people who want to work with me all the time, and they say, oh, I want some guy who's 6 foot, over 6 foot. And I go, okay, amazing. And they always say it's because I'm 5'8", I want to wear heels. It's okay, what?
Is that the most important thing to you?
I guess so. It's the most important thing is that they're taller, that they're shorter than their partner in heels, right? But I tell them, I go, okay, if you met a guy who was everything you ever wanted, successful, treated you right, good, everything, but he was 5'8". Would you date him? And they looked, ooh. They're like, I don't know. And then I just go, okay, well then you're going to be single for a really long time. Like if that's the mindset that you're bringing into relationships and you prioritize how the relationship or how the person is perceived by height versus how they make you feel, how they treat you, the relationship that you create together, if all of that is trumped by whether the guy is 6 foot or not, then you're not actually meant to be in a relationship. You're not serious about being in a relationship.
So then, do you generally coach women until they find a relationship, or like how does that work?
I appreciate you asking me that. Yeah, I mean, right now I tell people we work for 6 months containers, and I say I will work with you for 6 months, and if you do everything that I say, you will be in a relationship of your dreams, not just any relationship. I'm not going to have you date a random person, but the relationship of your dreams in 6 months. And if you aren't, I will coach you for free until you are. Because I care about you, people being in a relationship. Like I really think it's a big problem. Like the loneliness epidemic, all of that. Like I don't want your money. I want you to be in a relationship. I want you to be happy. I want you to create the life that you want. That's what I operate from. And so it's a really good litmus test for people to whether they're serious or not, right? I say, hey, I'll work with you for free until you're in a relationship. And then if they say, oof, I don't know, I look at them and go, fine, then you don't actually want to be in a relationship. Because I literally just said I will coach you until you are. Right? And so if you don't want to do that, then you get to look at why that is.
Yeah.
And so it's a wonderful litmus test that I love to figure out, and it makes people think because they're like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Why don't I want that? Why am I choosing out of this? Okay, is it too expensive or am I too scared? But yeah, right now, like I will work with you and commit to you and make sure that I do everything in my power to support you in being in a relationship of your dreams.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I think, a lot of people, whether it's about a relationship or some other life goal, like they'll say they want it, but they're actually not willing to do the work and the transformation that is required to get to that point. I guess one example of this could be is like, yes, of course, your superficial appearance isn't everything, but there needs to be some level of physical and sexual attraction, right? Because for some of my friends, like they don't really work out that much. They don't take care of their health or their appearance necessarily, but they sort of want or expect people to still be attracted to them. And not to say that people won't be attracted to you if you're, not in the best shape in the world. That's not necessarily it. But it's like if you do want to give yourself the best shot, like why wouldn't you work out a couple times a week, go on a walk here and there? Like, what's your take on that?
You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And I think dating apps are a really good example of understanding where you sit in the attraction scale. And like, I have so many friends that are like, oh my God, I'm only getting liked by girls I'm not attracted to. And it's like, okay, well, that's good feedback. That means the girls you are attracted to don't find you attractive. So you have two choices. Either date women who might be a little less than what you find attractive, or get more attractive. Both those things are possible. There's this world that we operate from that is just extreme comfort and extreme victim and zero responsibility, and that like everything should be happening like to me because I'm perfect and I shouldn't have to do anything about it. So it's not the way the world works. It's not the way the world ever worked. Like it's not the way relationships work. They take work, they take risk, they take sacrifice, they take concession, they take all of it. And I always tell people, if you don't like the way you look, go work out. I'm very, very public with this. I only work out for one reason. It makes me look hot. It makes me look hot. Like if it didn't, I would never ever do it if it didn't make me look hot. And I have evidence that supports that once I started working out, I got hotter. Like that is just, or I got more attractive to people and also to myself. I looked hotter. But like if you don't feel sexy or attractive, go work out. And the worst case scenario in that is that you get healthier and better looking, right? And like, sure, people still might not like you, but like you will look good and you'll have hobbies and you'll meet new people, right? Like,
Totally.
so yeah, no, I only work out. I work out a lot, and people think that I'm like this big like fitness guy, and I told them, I go, I only work out because it makes me look good. Like that's all. People ask me to do these really intense workouts, and I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that because that's too much. That's beyond what I feel is necessary for me to look this way.
Hey, at least you're doing it. And I mean, have you dated other people from your gym?
I
It's like a
have
bunch of hot people.
gone on dates with people at my gym. Yes, I have.
Okay. Hey, that's a great place to meet people, is other fitness hot people, and especially at your gym, it looks all influencers and like fitness models.
I mean, that might be why they don't want to date me because they actually care about working out. I'm just doing it for vanity reasons. But it's true, right? Like the gym is a place. There's such a conversation. Oh, can you ask someone out of the gym? Oh, I don't want to be interrupted during my workout. It's just like it's not that serious, you know? Like,
Also
my
depends on the approach. If you're being creepy and weird versus just like introducing yourself and not making someone uncomfortable, like that's kind of where it starts. You don't have to just straight up be like, "Hey, you're hot. Let's go on a date." But it's just like, "Hey, this
totally.
is what my name is. Like, what's your name?"
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I tell a lot of my male clients because they have a fear of approaching. And I'm like, you're scared of approaching because your intention is to have sex with this person, right? Like you've skipped the idea of connection, of getting to know them, of becoming friends with them. You're jumping straight to, I think you're hot, I want to have sex. And the step in between that is for me to take you out on a date, right? And so it's like, oh, well, I'm actually scared to ask that out because, I don't really feel good about that. It's like, no, that's why I have so many female friends because I'm not trying to have sex with all of them, right? Because
Yeah.
I understand that. And I go, hi, I'm Joel, what's up? And we create friendships. And then the ones that I find very like connected to and that I like really, really like, yeah, sometimes I go, hey, do you feel the same thing I feel? Yeah, no? Okay, great. Right. But starting with connection, if like your intention is really, I'm just gonna connect with this person, I'm gonna get to know them without any expectations of it being romantic, it makes approaching people a lot easier and a lot more comfortable. And so for the
Definitely.
for the gym, hey, I'm Joel. You've been coming here a long time, like that's it. And then maybe you don't ask for their number, but the next time they go to the same gym, you'll see them again. You see them, oh, hey, how's it going? We met a couple weeks ago. Do you remember me? My name's Joel. She may or may not remember you. Okay. Oh, amazing. Talk a little bit more. Maybe the next time, talk a little more. Maybe ask them. Like, it's a process. And
Yeah.
I think with dating apps, it completely eliminated any of like the actual connection and getting
Yeah.
to know somebody. And it just skips straight to, hey, let's date and let's potentially be in a relationship or fuck and never call each other again. Yeah, yeah. Like it just removed the nuance of like connection and like friendship and platonic like relationships.
I have been on dating apps in the past, and yeah, it led to some great friendships for sure. But I've just read the research on a lot of these apps. I think it was Bumble. It's like 90% of the women are talking to the top 10% of men in terms of like attractiveness or across metrics. So it's like the competition is not that great. And yeah, it's just is I think fear of rejection is the reason why both men and women might not approach someone. But rejection is also a part of life, and if you approach it the right way, just low pressure introducing yourself, probably you won't get rejected most of the time, I would say. But like you were saying, like start as friends. My last relationship, like we had mutual friends. We had met at a party together one time, and then he just asked to hang out. And over time, I realized like how persistent he was, and I was like, I admire that. I respect that. Like, because I wasn't necessarily like instantly attracted to him, but as we got to know each other, he just really won me over. So yeah, I mean, I think there is a lot to that. And yeah, like some women might friend zone you and keep you in that zone if they're not attracted, but if they are and they feel that chemistry and spark, then it can go pretty far.
100%. Are you single? Are you dating? Are you in a relationship? What's your status? If you don't have to talk about it, but I'm just curious. I'm curious about your
Currently
experience.
single. As of the recording of this podcast, I'm single.
Okay.
I was in almost back-to-back relationships for the last 3 years, and the last one ended last September. And for me, I'm just honestly just been working on myself. Like I've been in therapy, I'm doing probably an ayahuasca retreat at some point, and I'm just focusing on my career because I realized like had I spent all that time and energy on my career, I'd be way further along. I don't regret it at all because we did go into both of those relationships with the intention of like, oh, like this is serious. Like we're not going to be exclusive unless we're thinking about marriage in the future. But in that time, I've just learned so much, and I went from thinking like, oh, I want to have kids, I need to like get on that quick quickly to like now I'm okay with not having kids. If it happens sometime in the future, great, but it's not a priority to get this done by a certain age. And I also decided not to freeze my eggs because I just didn't want to put my body through that. I just kind of feel like it's an unfair burden for a woman to have, even though I don't have a partner or anything yet. I'm just like, why should I have to do all of this if we want to have a future in the a family in the future? Like if we get to that point, there's tons of other ways: fostering, adoption, IVF, whatever. So I'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, right now I'm just like working on myself and focusing on me. And if something happens, great. But I don't, and I know that you'll never necessarily be like fully healed, but that's my bigger priority now, is like breaking the patterns, because we did go to couples therapy in both of my relationships, and it kind of helped to a certain degree. But I have an anxious attachment, and that's something that I'm very aware of it. But it's, no matter how much work you do, sometimes it's not easy to just be like, okay, you're cured, you're healed, you're over it, right? A relationship is a mirror, and they'll bring out your triggers, right? So who knows what will happen but whenever my next relationship is, but I'm not in a rush. I'm actually really enjoying being single.
Thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. What is, like, I'm just gonna ask this question, like, on your healing journey, like, what is, like, when will you know you're ready for another relationship?
I don't know. That's the thing, is like I don't necessarily think there's a certain point. I want to go through these things, like do more plant medicine, like really try to resolve as much as possible my biggest traumas, because I have these recurring dreams and nightmares about being in the Navy. That was something very traumatic for me. A lot of things happened, and no matter how much talk therapy I've done, I still have these dreams almost every single week. So that's why I feel like plant medicine is something I haven't tried yet, at least on that level, and we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, I want to have a better understanding or have put more effort into that before I commit to someone else, because I feel like I need to focus on me, on this thing that I know is a problem, right? It's been going on for over like 15 years now. And I definitely think those things affected my last relationship, because if I was triggered, I'd have a trauma response, and I would go into fight or flight. I'd get upset, I'd cry, and I'd try to understand, like, why does this keep happening, right? But I feel like, trauma is stored in the body. It was very like, it's something that, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever necessarily be healed, but I want to have a better control over it prior to focusing so much attention on a relationship.
Great. Yeah. There's I believe that relationships are the most confronting and consistent feedback for who we are as people, right? And I do believe that, like, there are a lot of individuals who are on this healing journey, and I'm not saying you're one of them. Like, there's a very specific thing that you are addressing and that you've seen come up in past relationships. So I'm not saying this is you, but I think there are a lot of people are like, oh, I got to focus on me. Focus on me, me. And that's a reflection of our society of, like, it's all about me. And if we're focusing so much on ourselves and we are practicing so much about just like myself, when it comes time to be in a relationship, it's going to be fairly challenging, right? Because you're like, oh, I've been focused on myself for the last however many years. Now I'm like, this is actually really challenging to have somebody else in my space, somebody else that I'm looking out for. Like, whoa, okay, this is really tough. And so sometimes with friends of mine and people that I work with, like, it's like, hey, at some point, like, you've got it, you're go for it, right? Like, sometimes the self-development and the healing is a place to hide. It's a place to protect yourself from potential heartbreak or getting hurt again. But it's like, hey, you've been doing this for a while. You are ready. Trust me, right? It's just like, go for it. And then if it happens again, great, it happens again. You can take another year off or whatever. There's so many single people and they all claim they want to be in a relationship, right? And so it's okay. If everyone's single, they all want to be in a relationship, there's something that's not working because they're not in that relationship. And so I'm working on hopefully trying to find a solution, or at least create a space where people can come to that solution on their own.
Yeah, no, I love that. And also another thing is, like, I'm open to dating. If I meet somebody, great. Just, it's not going to be on a dating app. It'll be with mutual friends, or sometimes people slide into the DMs. That's how my last ex hit on me. We had mutual friends we had met, but he started just messaging me on Instagram. I was like, who's this? But yeah, and I do think that certain things can only, or maybe can best be healed in relationship. So Yeah, whenever that time comes, I feel like I'll be much more equipped and I have a better understanding of myself already of why I had these triggers, of why I got panicked or shut down. Because that was one of my patterns is if something happened, like I couldn't really talk about it right away. I needed to take time and process it before we came together and hashed it out or whatever, whether that was just us or in couples therapy, whereas he wanted to talk about things immediately. But and he would kind of like push me and then I get triggered again, and so it was these patterns and patterns, and I wanted to understand why that kept happening so I don't repeat them in future relationships. And I want to be very honest and open about this. I don't really care who's listening. It's like we're all sorry we're all, you know, humans. We all have our own traumas. We all have our own patterns and triggers. And I think being honest and vulnerable and putting that out there so other people could feel more comfortable and not just pretend like, oh, I'm perfect. Because I feel like with dating apps especially, you kind of just have to pretend like you airbrush your photos. You might add a couple inches to your height or beef yourself up because you want to put your best foot forward. Of course, I understand that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be in a long-term or lifelong relationship, they're going to find out. They're going to find out what you're lying about, what your insecurities are. They're just going to come out. So you might as well just kind of be upfront about it.
That reminds me of have you ever been to Pitch a Friend?
No, not yet.
So you know you know what it is though. So for anyone in the audience that doesn't know, it's this event that people go and they create a presentation about a friend. So it's like, hey, if I'm pitching Mel, I would create a presentation about why Mel is such an incredible person, why you should date her. And the event's good in Austin. It's one of the biggest. Like, it's so fun. But what I found in these presentations is like they were all just the same person. Like they were all like, oh, they're the best person ever. They love sports. They love to cook. They love to hike. Their dog's their most important person. They won't like you if you're a certain political thing, and you better be something something. And it was like just the same thing over and over again with just different photos and different branding. And there'd be some people that they'd pitch. You know, there was this one guy in particular I'll never forget. Super attractive, incredibly fit, loved to cook, loved to travel, had an incredible job. And he was like 37, and me and at the end of the presentation, like all these incredible attributes about how this guy is like the perfect guy. And me and my friend just both look at each other and go, okay, so what's the real thing? Like, why is he single? You know, it's like this guy is literally like
Because it's
sculpted
because
by,
they're too picky.
I don't know, right? He's sculpted by God. Yeah, and he does everything. I'm like, okay, well, what's this presentation not actually saying? Because something's not adding up. Because if this man was this man, he would be in a relationship. And if he's actually looking for a relationship, he should not have any problems being in one.
Yeah, no, I think it's funny because most people, especially back when I was on dating apps, the reason why they weren't single is because I'm too picky. My standards are really high. I'm like, we all have high standards. I mean, hopefully.
Yeah. I'm too picky is simply I am afraid to commit.
Yeah.
Like, you're too picky until
or
you're
you
not.
have nothing to bring to the table. You think that you do, but you actually don't. Like,
Yeah, man. This is one of my favorite stories. I'm not going to say any names, but I was talking to my friend one time, and I was asking him. He was like, he's an incredibly attractive, tall guy, and I'm like, why are you single? Like, what are you looking for? He goes, oh, I'm just so picky. I'm like, great, right? Like, you should be picky. Like, you should get exactly what you want. Like, similar to what we said about earlier about the high standards. I'm like, yeah, amazing. What do you want? Who do you want? Explain it to me. And he's like, oh, I want a girl who, like, obviously I'm attracted to, like, who likes to hike, and we have good banter. And I'm like, amazing. Like, what else? And he looks at me and goes, it's probably about it. And I'm like, yeah, I go, that's not picky. I'm like, I know 1,000 girls that I could call right now that are hot, like to hike, and you can banter with. So there's something else, because it's not that you're too picky. It was just so funny because I waited for him to say more, and I'm like, okay, more? He's like, no, that's it. I'm like, okay, you're not picky. You're just unclear what you want, actually. Yeah.
it's hilarious. Well, I mean, we've covered so many things. This has been great. We should definitely do another one of these in like 6 to 12
Anytime.
months and see where everything is then.
Yeah, I would love it. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Awesome. Thank you. And for everyone else, please tune into the next episode of the Breakthrough Blueprint.